This lesson is going to look at two types of angles that you probably have heard about before today, and they are complementary and supplementary. Complementary angles, as you can see from the picture, are two angles that come together to form 90 degrees. So if these two angles were complementary, angle A and angle B together would equal that 90-degree angle that you see in the picture. Supplementary angles are very similar, except they make a straight angle or a 180-degree angle. So I have a straight line which is 180 degrees. If I put angle A and angle B together, angle A would be here, angle B would be here. Together they would make that entire straight line, or that 180-degree angle. Now, in order to determine the complement and the supplement of the following angles, so you're given an angle measure of 42 degrees and you want to find its complement. Well, we just figured out that complement or complementary angles make 90 degrees together. So if they make 90 degrees together and we know we have a 42-degree angle, I want to know what I can put up here in order to fill in the rest to make the rest of the 90-degree angle. So I would take the 90 degrees that we're looking for, and I would subtract what we know we already used, which is the 42. So I cannot take 2 from 0, so that becomes a 10. The 9 I have to borrow from becomes an 8. 10 minus 2 gives me 8. And then 8 minus 4 gives me 4. So my complement for this particular angle would be 48 degrees. Don't forget your degree symbol. I would do the same thing for this one over here. So the other one, I know I have an 80-degree angle. To make 90 degrees, I would take the 90 I want, subtract the 80 that we already used, and I should come up with 10. So its complement, or the other angle that it would have to be in order to be a complementary, would be 10 degrees. To get the supplement is the same process, except supplementary angles don't equal 90 degrees together. They make that straight line, or 180 degrees. So I would have to subtract the angle that we know from 180 degrees. So I would have my 180 that we need. I use the 42. So to figure out what the supplement is, I'd have to subtract. So I can't take 2 from 0, so that becomes a 10, and I'm borrowing from the 8, which turns into a 7. 10 minus 2 is 8, 7 minus 4 is 3, and then 1 minus nothing is 1. So the supplement here would be 138 degrees. I would do the same thing over here. I would have 180 that I want, the 80 that I have, I subtract, I get 0, 8 minus 8 is 0, and then I have the 1. So the supplement here would be 100 degrees. That should have been rather easy. Now, this is the 8th grade version of the same kind of thing. Notice there's more words and there's your favorite variables in there. So let's take a look. It says the measure of angle A is 3x degrees, and the measure of its complement, that's a key word right there, complement, angle B is x plus 6 degrees. Determine the measures of the angles. So there's 3 steps in this. The first step is to write an equation that shows the relationship between angle A and angle B. Complementary, again, remember, means that the sum of the angles, or when you put them together, they add to make 90 degrees. So I know then that the measure, that's what the M stands for, of angle A plus the measure of angle B is going to be equal to 90 degrees. Now I can substitute for what I know the angles are. I know the measure of angle A up in the problem tells me is 3x. I also know the measure of angle B, it tells me is x plus 6. And then I know that this is still equal to 90 degrees. That's step 1. Step 2, once I have that equation created, is now that I need to solve that equation. So I want to start solving it by combining my like terms. So my like terms on the left-hand side are my x values. So 3x and x, if I add them together, I get 4x. I still have the plus 6, and then that's equal to 90. So now I have my x that I want to have isolated so I can figure out what its value is. So I have to get rid of the 6 first. The opposite of plus 6 is minus 6. So I'm going to subtract 6 sides from both sides of my equal sign. 6 minus 6 is 0, so that cancels out, and I'm left with 4x. And then 90 minus 6 gives me 84. Then to get rid of the 4, it's being multiplied by x right now, so I have to do the opposite, which is division, and I want to divide both sides by 4. The two 4's here cancel each other out. I'm left with x, and then 4 goes into 8 and 84 twice and 4 once. So my answer is x is equal to 21 degrees. So step 1 was to write the equation. Step 2 is to solve the equation. So I now know that x is 21 degrees. The last step of this problem is then to use that fact that x is equal to 21 degrees and determine the measures of the two angles. We know the measure of angle A is 3x, which means 3 times x. And I just figured out that x was 21 degrees, so I could say the measure of angle A is 3 times 21, which is 63 degrees. I also know that the measure of angle B is x plus 6. So if I substitute it in here, I would have 21 plus 6, which gives me 27 degrees. So my answer then is the measure of angle A is 63 degrees, and the measure of angle B is 27 degrees. A very quick way to tell if I'm right, because these angles have to be complementary, I could take the answers that I get, 63 and 27, and I could add them together, and if I equal 90 degrees, as complementary angles do, then I would be correct. So let's see if we're correct. 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1. 6 plus 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So we do get the 90 degrees that we're looking for. So those angles are complementary, so the chances are those as our solution is correct.